All right. The first house on the right. Let's talk about it.
Wow, it's such a nice house where nothing bad happens ever.
Yeah.
But the
That's
last house on the left,
what's funny about this is I think they kind of outright say that this is like a house out in the middle of nowhere
yeah, so
by
there's no
itself.
houses on the right and
Yeah.
there's no other houses on the left.
Just there's a house
Just a house.
the house. The house at the
House.
in the middle of nowhere. Is
Yeah.
yeah. Cuz yeah, I mean if there was like a cold not like just a road that went down and there was like a last house on the left, that would make sense, but this film does not have a last house on the left.
No.
But it does have a crease.
It does have a John crease.
It does have a crease.
Before pre-Cobra Kai.
Pre-Karate Kid.
And then, yeah.
And he is a moron who runs out to do this, help save the day, and forgets to gas up the car.
Oh my gosh.
Just they run out of gas. Let's get into this movie. Okay, so this movie was Wes Craven's very first film. He followed this up with a porno movie.
Right.
And I haven't seen the porno, but I'm going to guess I would probably be more into that movie. So Kaylee has never seen
a lot of Wes Craven
most Wes Craven films. And
yeah.
I've told her for a long time, and I've told all of you for a long time, that I think Wes Craven is vastly overrated. And I never use that word, but if I'm ever going to use it, this is the time I'm going to use it. I do not like almost any of his films outside of A Nightmare on Elm Street. There's I like New Nightmare. I don't really like his movies, and I've seen most of them, but there are going to be some, because we do plan on doing a Wes Craven-a-thon, and we've already watched The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
But I noticed that we had covered, or that you and I, or just I covered almost none of his films, because I don't like them.
Right.
And I'm I don't want to fucking sit through his movies. But with Kaylee, she wants to go through them because,
She's an important director.
Yes.
In the horror genre, and I feel like I need to watch him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the first time watching The Last House on the Left.
This is the last time I watched this. This movie looks like absolute
I was
dog
just gonna
shit.
say, so bad.
We tried 3 different versions of this. I have a DVD. We tried to put it in on this app I have, and then also I think it was Plex.
Yeah, it was
had
Plex.
claimed that they had an HD version.
Yeah.
They all looked the same. They all looked the same.
They all looked exactly the same.
Just dreadful.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a cleanup of this. I honestly don't care. It's not going to make the movie any better. I know people like this movie. Totally fine. I'm not one of those people. So this is years before I Spit on Your Grave. I greatly prefer I Spit on Your Grave, but this movie is primarily a girl, 2 girls, getting raped for a long extended period of time, and them being degraded and abused, and then vengeance comes after. I mean, it's the exact same kind of concept as I Spit on Your Grave, except for in this one, it's the parents who are doing the revenging, and in I Spit on Your Grave, it's the girl who's doing the revenging after she survives her attack and they think she's dead. So what did you think of the film, Miss First Time Watcher?
I thought that it was, honestly, it was weird. The villains in this, I feel like, are the dumbest villains that I've seen in a while. They were so dumb. And, I mean, I'm kind of glad that they weren't made to be, cool or whatever, because I found that, all of the rape scenes and everything were actually really sad. Although, the first time that, I don't know their names.
Oh, yeah.
The first time that,
Mary.
Is it Mary that's getting raped?
No, Phyllis is getting raped.
Okay, so when Mary's reaction to Phyllis's getting raped is pretty funny, and that sucks, but it's just like her expressions are so weird and like not extreme enough and very just kind of like...
It's called bad acting.
It's bad acting. It's really... So that was kind of
She's
funny.
like...
But it sucked because I'm like, oh, this girl's getting raped. Like, I don't want to be, like, laughing at it, but I'm just laughing at her reaction. But then, like, later on in the movie, like, when they're in the woods and they're like, oh, like, have sex with each other. And Mary's just, like, crying and freaking out about it. Like, all of that actually was pretty disgusting to watch. You know,
Sure.
like, it felt really bad. But... like, all of the characters, like, I guess the mom and dad are supposed to be, like, the smartest people in the film because the sheriff and his, like, police officer side, and, yeah, like, they're so dumb. Dumb. So it's just kind of, like, I don't know why I'm just so, like, caught up on how dumb everyone is, but that was just something that I noticed, that the characters were written that way. And I don't know, I mean, it's a first film for sure. It's not something that I, like, want to watch again. I didn't, like, love it at all. It definitely has some B-movie elements to it, so I can see how people, you know, especially if you're a huge Wes Craven fan, you know, you'd be, like, super endeared to it.
This is a classic.
But, yeah, and I can see how people would be into it because of, like, the name.
I can't.
Really, but... I don't know. It was definitely an amateur film for sure. And the music. Oh, we didn't even talk. I guess
we haven't talked about it.
We talked about anything.
No,
but the music was so bizarre. Like in the beginning, the first two songs were like these lyrical, like 70s songs that I don't know. But I was like, all right, it's the 70s. The dad's like, your nipples are showing, and it's all like setting up her being a part of like the free love generation or whatever. And I was like, okay, maybe I can get into this. Like, 70s are pretty cool. But then, like, the rest of the movie has the weirdest soundtrack. Like, there's...
It's very, like
honky tonk kind of music. Yeah, lighthearted when it doesn't feel like it should be lighthearted. And it sort of feels like that was a decision to be like, oh, the tone's all over the place because these guys are crazy and, like...
I think it was like a decision to cut down on like how like fucked up the movie would be, right? Like, where like if the music matched what was going on in the scene, it would be too much for the audience. It would be like an assault on them.
Yeah, but
like it was almost like they like balanced it with like, oh, I know you're watching Rape, but like here's some music from your favorite, you know, freaking sitcom.
That's bizarre.
It was weird.
It definitely did not balance it out. It just kind of made it like I was confused as to what I was supposed to be taking from the music choice being added to these like, you know, gruesome scenes. So I don't know. I didn't like the music.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, you know, if you take our like Italian cinema, for instance, and you take something like the redness of the blood, and this is a choice to make the scenes not as gruesome, right? It cuts down. It's why, you know, Alfred Hitchcock made Psycho in black and white. Is budgetary, A, but also B, because, you know, he could show blood and it wouldn't seem as gruesome because of how it was being presented. And when you have a film, you have to remember this movie was made 4 years after Night of the Living Dead. I mean, this is still in a very, like, you know, restricted era. Sure. Where film like this is super taboo. I mean, you're talking about making a basic snuff film and releasing it to the general public.
Well, and it had, like, you know, homosexuality in there too and everything, which I'm sure would have been like not as like kosher or whatever to have in movies. But what you were saying about like the blood in Italian cinema, though, that's a stylized choice, and like sure, it kind of cuts down on like the believability, like it's not real blood or whatever, but it's still done a lot of times in like an artistic way. And I feel like the music in this was not artistic. Like, it just felt like it totally mismatched.
I think they went down and they figured out what was public domain music.
Yeah.
And they were like, all we have is upbeat shit. And they were like, it's all we got. We just gotta use it.
And I guess that could have been, like, scary, you know, to have the juxtaposition of, like, really happy music while people are screaming and, like, being tortured. But the music was so hokey sounding. Like, it wasn't, like, a creepy happy music, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I did find that there was some kind of message you could take from this in the beginning, where she's not wearing a bra, and she's also going to this concert where the guy bit the head off of a bird or whatever.
Sure.
Very like Ozzy Osbourne. Like, she's listening to devil music, and she's also promiscuous, and she's talking about how, like, her, you know, she's finally blossomed, and she has tits now, and she's, like, shoving it in her parents' face and being disobedient, and it's like, she deserves what she gets. Right?
Sure, it's like she put herself in that position or whatever, which is total bullshit.
It's the girl's fault for dressing that way.
Total bullshit.
And she worships the devil by seeing devil music. Like, that's the message that I was kind of starting to get in the beginning with the dad. Like, hey, I can see your nipples. And she's like, come on, Dad, get with it.
Oh my gosh, like that was funny. Like, there, even though her acting is kind of rough in there too, like just the way that she's like blocked and like how she's like moving, it's like she's trying not to turn her back to the camera, which I get, like, you don't want to turn your back, but it just felt really weird and robotic in the beginning. But their dynamic was fun, and the mom is like, like, oh, what did she call herself? A drill sergeant for wearing a bra? Yeah.
The bullet bras of the past. I also found it funny. It actually came off as very comedic to me. The film does kind of come off weirdly comedic.
Yeah.
But because there's so much like Barney Fife type shit going on with the cops.
Oh my
when
gosh.
they're just like, oh no, I ran out of gas and we better take this hen car and get on the roof, and it's stalled, and she's like, and they're like, you better not. It's like, what the hell?
The cops in this just sucked so bad.
But
even the killers though, like, so the son that's like addicted to heroin, when he's like in the bathroom when they're still in like New York or whatever, in the city, and he's like making those frog noises, like legitimately turns into a frog and can ribbit.
The deepest voice I've ever heard in a ribbit was like, ribbit.
It was funny, but it was weirdly comedic, for sure.
Sure. As he's sitting in there with her in the bathtub, and she's like, you know, this girl Sadie, she's like wanting to fuck all three of them. But
not until they get more girls, so she has equal representation.
Yeah.
The two older guys were definitely the scariest, like, together. Like, when they were, like, teaming up, I was like, I don't like that. Like, they're creepier.
Krug and Weasel?
Yeah.
Krug, I think.
Krug.
It's Krug. Krug. He carves it into her, too.
Yeah, I think it's Krug. I think they say Krug.
Krug. He's crude. Krug. Kruger. Oh, wow. I just realized that. This guy's villain's name is Krug. And Kruger. Freddy Krueger.
He's more Krug.
Yeah, he's Kruger. I'm Kruger than you. Yeah, maybe that's who Freddy Krueger was. It was that guy, and then he got burned.
Maybe. He
there you
seems
go.
like the kind of guy
Connected.
Connected
Last House on the Left
Nightmare on
is
Elm.
actually
Prequel.
Yeah.
What?
It's actually like 1428 Elm. It's the Last House on the Left.
What?
What, bro? Anyway, what I found funny was that when they're like announcing all the criminals who've escaped from jail, they're like announcing like what their crimes were. It was just like a laundry list of textbook villain stuff. It was like all the stuff you could possibly do bad.
Yeah.
They were just like, they were convicted of murder, pedophilia, the list just went on for so long on each one of them. I was just like, did you guys just go through like all the
All
fucking
crimes.
and just be like, all right, give this guy these 10, give this guy these 10. It was like, how can we make them the most monstrous we possibly can?
Yeah. Yeah, they're very diverse criminals.
Shit.
And it's got a long resume.
Shit. These guys have a bucket list of crimes. Like, I'm gonna do them all. I'm gonna collect all the crime stamps. And
Crime stamps.
so, okay, in Night of the Demons, I definitely saw something very bizarre, and that was Linnea Quigley's character pushing a lipstick container through her tit. Right? She pushes it right through her nipple. So that is definitely one of the most bizarre things I've seen someone do with lipstick. Until I saw this movie, and Sadie, who's not possessed by a demon, is just
Like,
obsessively putting on lipstick, but then also sucking on the lipstick like it's a lollipop.
it's so gross. I was like sitting there watching. I'm glad you mentioned that because I didn't even say anything. I was just
She's
like, why is she doing that? It was
like,
so gross.
What are you
Lipstick
doing?
tastes nasty. Like,
Sure.
it doesn't taste good to eat like that.
But she just keeps like rubbing
Yeah,
it on her
she's
lips
like-
and then like sucking on it like a dick.
I know. It's like he was just like, Wes Craven was like, all right, I need you to be like a slut. That's like obsessed
We're
with
gonna
her
put something
lips.
phallic in your hands.
So just like,
And she's like, oh. I mean, he did shoot a porno right after this.
yeah, he was horny, which is
So
weird,
maybe Sadie
though.
was in the
It's
porn.
like he films a movie about rape, and then he's like, I want to make a porn.
The porn is about a girl who's like in love with her brother and then wants to join the priesthood.
As long as she's not raped
Yeah.
and they're consenting.
If she
And
goes
they're
and
not
lives
really
with the priesthood,
related.
she might get raped. Oh no, she's not a little boy. Never mind.
Oh.
And yeah, as I wrote here, deepest ribbit ever.
Deepest ribbit
The
ever.
and then her ribbit on the other,
Ribbit,
like,
ribbit.
was
She's
like,
just like,
"Ribbit,
she's
ribbit."
just like saying it and enunciating it.
And he's like, "Don't mimic me because I'm an actual frog."
And then the guy comes in, he's like, you toad.
So there's a scene where like the criminals are driving, and I'm not sure if Sadie is fucking Krug
Oh
or
my
not.
god, we
but I
couldn't
was just
figure
like,
it out. She's
"Are they
like
having sex right now?"
dancing, but then she's like
He's
bouncing.
on his lap and he's like,
Yeah, he looks like he's having sex, but he's also having a conversation too. Like they're
but
talking.
these are the kinds of guys that would have
I
sex with this
know.
girl right in front of each other and just be like, so anyway, who you want to rape tonight?
I don't know. I think that they were having sex, but I also feel like we would have seen more skin.
Like, dick in your vagina? Like,
no,
no,
not like
that much skin?
penetration. But like I don't know. I feel like she would have like had her boobs out or something. To
I'm
show
surprised she
that
wasn't
was,
freaking like sucking
having
on
sex.
lipstick at the same
Oh
time.
my god.
Yeah, so why was there a bullseye painted in the street when they drove over the hill?
I don't know.
That was really weird.
That was weird.
There's just this massive bullseye on the road. Like literally the size of 2 lanes.
They're like-
There's just a bullseye in the middle of the road.
That's where they were dropping stuff, and they. I don't know what they were
For-
dropping.
People who fucking parachute are,
Yeah,
are
they're
supposed
like,
to
"Aim
land
for the
right on
bullseye."
the land, and then over the hill comes the truck into them, and it's that chicken coop truck with the
Man.
cops on top of the roof, and they're like, "Watch out!" Fucking crease.
Cops.
Good
Oh
old
my
crease.
Gosh.
Krug makes Krug.
Krug.
Krug. he makes Mary or Phyllis. I think it's Phyllis. Piss her pants.
Yeah.
Because they're like cutting up the friend, and it's like, piss your pants or I'm gonna cut your friend.
Yeah.
They should have just came to me when I was like 14.
Aww.
And I've just been pissing my
You've
pants.
been like, I do it for free.
I do it right here, right now.
You don't gotta threaten me.
Just gotta wait for me to go to sleep.
Aw.
She's like, hold on, let me take a nap.
It's awful though. Like the way that they treat them is awful, and like it definitely, them running through the woods when she like leaves to go run through the woods. I really wanted her to escape. I knew she wasn't going to, but I wanted her to.
Another part of I Spit on Your Grave that is very similar here is Junior is a character that's very similar to the one. in I Spit on Your Grave, except for in I Spit on Your Grave, the like one that's opposing to everything, he's forced into the rape but ends up liking it. And in Junior's case, he wants nothing to do with it.
No.
And wants them to let her go, and is like against it from the start.
Yes, all he wants is drugs.
All he cares about is drugs.
Fix, yeah. Which sucks.
And chewing on marijuana or something because he has like a bunch of green shit in between his teeth.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know what he's eating. A lot of spinach.
They just, I'm strong to the finish because I eat me spinach.
Ricky Popeye.
Yeah. And yeah, just the fact the cops run out of gas, I just can't get out of it. I can't get over it. I can't get out of it. I can't get it out of my head is what I was going to say. It's just, it's absolutely asinine. But cars back then got like more gallons to the mile than miles to the gallon. So they probably had like 10 when they left.
More gallons to the mile.
Yeah. They got like 3 gallons to the mile.
Oh.
You got the joke now?
Yes. Yeah.
No? Okay, fine. But there is a very odd scene where Krog rapes one of the girls and then gets up. It's Mary.
That was so gross.
And he like gets up and he's like weirdly has this look of like shame on his face, like he did something wrong, but then he shoots her.
They all like stand around. That's so nasty too, that rape scene, because he's like drooling on her face. And I'm just like, no, I would be biting. I don't care if I would die. I would just like, but right after, they like all stand around, the 3 of them, aside from Junior, and they're just kind of like looking at each other. I think that's supposed to be that like the high is kind of coming down, and they're just like, like they're kind of just not disgusted with themselves, but sort of just like maybe disgusted with the act in a way.
Can I point out that freaking Crease, who doesn't know how to check the gas gauge in a car, he can literally listen to the road like Tonto and hear a truck full of chickens, and he specifically calls that out. I hear chickens.
Oh my god.
And then a truck of chickens comes over the hill. But they both, knowing going out there that something was happening, could not hear a gunshot.
No, the dog heard a gunshot though, which I didn't even mention. That's like my favorite scene in the whole movie. Is the opening when the dog just like runs from the distance and you just see its tiny little body.
She just loves dogs.
Oh my god, no, but it's so great. Like the mailman's there and it's just like, and then it comes up.
I love dogs too, but that's just Kaylee being Kaylee.
That's the best scene.
That's her best. Yeah, that's the best scene. But when he put his ear to the ground, but then they didn't hear the gunshot, which you could hear for miles. I was like, you can hear a chicken truck through the road. He literally puts his fucking head on the road. He puts his ear to the ground.
And he hears.
And he's like, chickens. I fucking have no idea. And then the parents find out because they come looking for help, and they're like, what are the odds? And Junior's probably like, well, they did tell us they lived right here.
Yeah, literally.
So, and there's no other house. So, I mean, I know Junior's the only one around at that point, but he's like, the odds are good. The odds are really good.
They're really, really good.
So then, they come over. The parents welcome them way too easily. He's like, our house is your house. And then they just find out that they've killed their daughter because she goes and looks through the shit, finds bloody clothes. They run down to the little lake or whatever and find their daughter's body. And for some reason, instead of just the dad going and getting the shotgun and just blowing them away in their sleep, the mom lures one of the guys out and sucks his dick.
She does.
Until he almost comes.
She does.
This seems like, I mean, don't get me wrong, getting your dick bit off sounds terrible and this and that, but getting a blowjob for a little while first seems like way too good of something for this guy.
Absolutely. I feel like the second the dick entered her mouth, she should have been chomping.
Yeah, she literally blew him till he climaxed, and then she bit his dick off.
And the way he's like coming was so gross. He was like, "Oh, mama," or something. Like, Papa's gonna so nasty. I'm like, ew. And then, but I was really happy that she bit him. But yeah, I agree. I don't know why she like took it so far.
No idea.
And then
he came in like 4 seconds, to be fair.
The dad's in the house.
He told her he could come for her like 5 or 6 times.
He did. He was like, I can do it a lot. Like, yeah, right.
I call bullshit on
100%.
that.
Meanwhile, the dad's in the house, like, home alone.
Dude, he's straight up Kevin McAllister all of a sudden.
He's like, let me get the shaving cream and, like, spread it over the floor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm going to electrify the door.
Yeah.
I'm going to put down shaving cream. I'm going to set up tripwires.
Like,
and
you have a shotgun.
Just walk into the room
They're
and blow them
asleep.
away.
100%. Yeah, for sure, the last act of this movie, I was just like, this is unnecessary. Like, they could have gone on a killing rampage and, like, avenged their daughter and her friend.
Sure.
That's fine. That would have been great. But instead, it's, like, kind of drawn out in a weird way.
A very weird way. A very weird way.
Yeah.
The guy gives Krug his total chance to get out of it. Mm-hmm. Like, they fight, and then Junior gets talked into blowing his own head off.
Oh my god.
He's just a moron.
That sucks. So, like, I do feel kind of bad for him because, like, he really is just doped up so much, and I feel like his brain is just broken.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't even know how to make his own decisions, and then his dad just being like, put it in your brains out, and he does it, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't... I don't know. He did participate in a way because he, like, got them inside. Like, they left, when he was at the stoop, and then he, like, called them back.
Yeah.
But aside from that, he doesn't rape them.
No.
He doesn't do anything else to them.
Well, he does hold
he
the
doesn't
one there
help them.
hostage.
Yeah, that's true.
Instead of letting her go. I mean, he eventually tries
So he
to help her.
participates
He
in
does
a way,
participate.
for sure. Like, he should be held accountable.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's just his situation sucks.
So, yeah. Probably the dumbest character, though, is Sadie, who takes off on foot running and somehow misses an entire pool in front of her that she runs right into, then swims directly towards the mom to get her throat cut.
It's because of all the lipstick she eats.
It's gotta be. She's like, broad daylight, running. Yeah. Oh, a pool! And then, like, pools don't come out of nowhere. Okay? This is like in movies when there's like the guy who's sitting here and then all of a sudden a helicopter comes up and it's like
you heard them.
You heard that fuck. I can hear a helicopter from a mile away. There's a helicopter right below you and you didn't hear that shit? Please. This just happened in an episode of Jack Ryan I watched where he was like, guess they're not coming, and then the helicopter came up and I was like, bro, you heard that helicopter? Fucking 3 miles back. 100%. What are you talking about?
100%.
Absurd. But anyways, there's a pool in front of you, and she runs directly into it. And instead of swimming to the other side of it to get distance between her and the mom, no, she swims back to where she fell in and just like tries to prop herself up where the mom is, and the mom just slits her throat and she falls back in the water and she dies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you are the dumbest character. But that's it. I mean, there should be a warning label on lipstick.
100%.
Don't eat lipstick or you'll be a dumbass.
Truth.
Mm-hmm. And then, the dad has the chance to kill Krug in front of the cops who run in last second like dipshits.
Oh my god. Like, we're here finally.
Yeah, don't do it. But I'm glad the dad's like,
fuck you.
Nah, it was a chainsaw, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he chainsaws his ass. Why this took so long. Why Krug decides to sit and press himself up against a wooden door when someone's coming with a chainsaw. These guys are all morons.
Yeah, they're definitely, and they're written that way for sure. So I don't know if there's like, there's evil and dumb people in the world, and like when they come together, like really bad shit can happen.
Yeah.
But it should just be like, okay, they're evil and dumb, but then we have like the good parents that are smart and competent over here. But because of their grief, they like kind of lose their minds a little at the end.
Yeah.
And instead of just killing them outright, they like play games with them. Which, again, if you wanted to, like, keep them alive and, like, torture them.
Sure. The Last House on the Left remake has a really, really nasty kill at the end of the movie. It's literally like the last few seconds of the film is, you know, the parents, I mean, it's no spoilers, it's the same shit. The parents torture this guy and kill him in a really horrendous way. And it's really cool. So I'm definitely open to try the remake, which also reminds me of the I Spit on Your Grave remake. But I like the I Spit on Your Grave movies outside of Deja Vu, which was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. But this is, dude, watch I Spit on Your Grave. It's a better film for sure. This is just stupid. This is just the villains in this movie, the music, the direction, everything is just not good in my opinion. So
it was. I mean, yeah.
This is
I
gonna
can't
be
say
an
I'm a
interesting.
fan of it, but I'm glad I watched it, and you know, I'm looking forward to watching more of his films too, because obviously he improves. You know, from this, at least in my opinion. You know. So we'll see. We'll see.
He definitely improves.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he improves, and I like, you know.
I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street's fucking masterpiece.
Exactly.
I love it.
It's really interesting because it's like, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street is obviously like fantasy. Like it has those kind of supernatural elements, but then like this movie and The Hills Have Eyes, like the two that we've watched, are very like human centric and like human killer centric. So it's just interesting because
Oh yeah, he
goes
goes
into
all
a
supernatural
real weird place
for most of his films, and
I
you'll
mean,
see that coming up
Yeah.
with so many. We'll see, but this will be fun. I mean, this is gonna be grueling to a degree, but there are a few movies for sure I haven't seen. I'm actually tempted to watch the porno. I found it on my phone, and I'm like, it's only an hour and like 10 minutes. Maybe I'll check it out. But I'm looking forward to it because next up after The Hills Have Eyes is Summer of Fear with Linda Blair, and I've never seen it, and I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. And of course, it's on Tubi.
Yay!
Just like everything.
Tubi.
Good old Tubi. All right, let's move on. Bye.